Welcome to Ask the Security Guy. I am your host, Holly Magnuson, and this is episode number 64, recorded live on January 13th, 2021. And with me today, as almost always, Shawn Foreman. Happy 2020, Shawn.
Happy New Year. Boy, we could say 2020 went out with a whimper.
Well, and I've already heard people say, I didn't realize that 2020 had 13 months.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like it just kept going.
Yeah, and the other good one I heard last week was, okay, well, the 7-day trial of 2021 is over, and I want my money back.
Right? Yeah, yeah. Let's. I'm not interested. Let's go back.
Yeah. So yeah, it is what it is. Well, today we are going to talk about some things that we have talked about before, and that is in the area of our credit cards.
Yep.
And if you've watched us before, you know Shawn has 2 rules to that. Shawn, what are those rules?
Well, if you're going to be shopping online, use a low limit credit card.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if it gets out, the damage is minimal. And the second thing, double check your accounts, all of your accounts, regularly.
Yeah.
If you aren't checking them, guarantee you something is flying under the radar that will cost you money, quite literally.
Yeah. There's one I would like to add. I want to tell you what happened to me right after Christmas during our break. Backstory a little bit. My husband and I have a Sam's Club card. And this is not a paid sponsorship. We don't have any sponsors, but it's through Synchrony Bank. I'm singing their praises. Year and a half or so ago, that card did get compromised, got a new one. And a couple of months ago, I noticed that they had the option to get text alerts when the card is used over a certain amount. I thought, I have unlimited texting. Let's do it.
Right.
So I set for a very low amount, and I would get the text messages. Well, one day I'm walking the dog and I get a text message that the card had been used. I'm thinking, okay, my husband's getting gas at Sam's Club. He'll be home in the next 10, 15 minutes. A couple of minutes later, he calls me to tell me that he had to meet a coworker down in LA to get some stuff for a job that they were doing, and he probably wouldn't be home for another 45 minutes. Well, that was an immediate red flag. So when I got home, logged into the account, I saw that the charge was for just under $20 at a brewery in LA. My husband doesn't drink, so I knew right off the bat it was not him. So no. I called and I'm like, can you tell me why there's a $20 charge at this brewery in LA? So long story short, when he and his coworker were buying some stuff at Home Depot, my husband pulled out the company credit card to pay for it. Well, when he pulled it out, his Sam's Club card fell out. At some point, his coworker picked up the card and proceeded to use it to buy, something at the brewery. And my husband called him out, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I found it, and I was going to give it to you tomorrow. And the place I went, they didn't take cash, and I didn't have a credit card, so I was going to give you the money back tomorrow, but I gave you your card."
Uh-huh.
Knowing what I know about this coworker, he might have given my husband his card back, but I don't know if he hadn't been called out. But by having that text alert, I immediately knew that there was a charge.
Mm-hmm.
When I saw what it was, we got it dealt with. So moral of the story is, if your credit card company offers you that option to get text alerts when the card is used and you have the bonus of unlimited text, use it. It's gold. Yeah, I'm a total believer. So.
Yeah. And that's absolutely correct. You can, with most credit card companies, banks, credit unions, even, they all have various security controls or alerts
Mm-hmm.
that you can use, and they're opt-in. You have to go in and ask for them to be turned on. But the one you're using, for example, is perfect because you set the dollar amount.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking at, for instance, if you have a low limit credit card that you only use for specific things, you set your alert accordingly.
Yeah, and I set it at $10.
Right. And I've
And I'm
told
glad
the
I
story
did.
before. I was traveling back east and I forgot
Mhm.
to put a travel notification in with the various financial institutions that I'm involved with, and they shut doors left and right on me because of it, and I had to call them.
Yeah.
And as soon as I called them, they immediately released it.
Hmm.
So I mean, the card worked like within 5 minutes. But that's again very valuable
Yeah.
because if I'm sitting here in California and someone in, I don't know, Indiana decides to make a purchase because they illegally got a hold of my card, that's going to immediately set off all kinds of bells and whistles with the bank. And that's happened. And they call, they text, they email. They're in, they're downright insistent.
Yeah.
They
Well,
leave voicemails. I mean, it's impressive.
and I'm very impressed with Synchrony because I was in Oklahoma in the fall, and I love using the Sam's Club Scan and Go app.
Right.
I could not check out with the Scan and Go app in the Sam's Club in Owasso, Oklahoma. I was able to go to the register,
Uh-huh.
do it there, but it would not allow me to use the Scan and Go app. And
Right.
it was a little annoying, but at the end of the day, they're protecting me, and I was incredibly grateful. So again, Synchrony doesn't sponsor us. This is my personal experience. But Shawn, you're going to share with us another way to add a level of protection to our credit cards. And what is that service called?
So again, we don't have any sponsors. This is just a plug on our part for a company called Privacy.com. So Privacy.com, and now I've also noticed a number of credit card companies doing this as well. So it's not just Privacy.com. You need to check with whoever your financial institution is, because they may have a service like this for free.
Yeah, and I'll plug Citibank has this service.
Capital One does as well, to name a couple. Um, so what it is think of it, you have a credit card, but that credit card only works for certain dollar values and it only works with certain vendors. So what Privacy does is I think for their free account, they offer you up to 12 cards. So that's 12 different places because they only work with one vendor at a time with these cards. So if you have, say, a Netflix subscription, and your Netflix subscription is billed monthly, the dollar amount, you sign up with Privacy. You said, I'm going to use this card number for Netflix. Now, if that card gets compromised or Netflix gets compromised and somebody else tries to use it, they won't be able to do anything because the layers of control that Privacy puts on says that's not Netflix and that's not the right amount. So no, you don't get to use this card number. So it's a nice layer of security, especially if you're using it for transactions or with people that you don't know or trust. Because let's face it, nobody ever buys anything from an untrustworthy source, right?
Never.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Nothing like eBay or that. So think about it this way. If I can go to, say Capital One and say, my Netflix subscription, or better yet, Amazon. So say you have subscriptions with Amazon that get delivered to your house once a month, once a week, whatever. But again, it's on a schedule, it's a single source, and it's always the same amount. But if you want to use the convenience of saving the credit card with the company, which is something we never recommend, Privacy and some of these other financial institutions now offer a secure way of doing that. So for instance, most vendors say, oh, save your credit card information with us for convenience. That's a horrible idea. Because if they're compromised, and let's face it, for most institutions, it's a matter of when, not if. I mean, look at the number of data breaches we've seen in the last 5 years. It's gotten so commonplace, it doesn't even make the news anymore. And I keep worrying about fatigue, where people get so used to seeing bad things that they just don't even register anymore. Well, they do register, and these fraudsters can do significant harm, especially in these times, where for a lot of people, what's in their bank account is on a very tight leash because maybe their business that they started shut down, or maybe the company that they worked for has them on reduced hours, or maybe they got laid off or fired, because of the current pandemic situation. So there, how do we introduce a way of continuing to spend in ways, in this new fully online world where we're not even going to the store hardly at all? But if you're purchasing online, now you have that increased level of risk because everything's being purchased online. So privacy and check with your bank, check with your credit card company. They may offer it for free. Privacy.com they're the ones that really made this work. And I'm really impressed with the service they provide. They did it right from a security perspective. So I have to acknowledge a company that's out there and doing it right and doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah, and you've been a couple of months taking a deep dive with them, because I think we first talked about it back in October, and you dug in and really looked at how they did things.
Yes. Yeah. So, and that's exactly right, Holly. I mean, this is not, and our viewers know this. We don't recommend products unless I've torn them apart 6 ways from Sunday. So, for instance, that's why we still recommend LastPass as a password manager. Now, that's not to say there aren't other good password managers out there, but LastPass has one of the best product offerings that I've seen. And the way they do TNO, which, to borrow an acronym from Steve Gibson over at Gibson Research, he uses that acronym. It stands for Trust No One.
Yeah.
So in his context, that means trust no one is around encryption, meaning the company can't ever see your data. So just to flip a little bit off and go down a little bit of a rabbit trail, there are a lot of companies out there that do good cloud storage. And Dropbox, for instance, is very, very, very popular because they've got a great set of tools. The problem is the encryption that they use, the company can see your data. And they actually say in their terms of service that they monitor your data to make sure that the data you're storing on their servers does not violate their terms of service. So think about that for a second. That means that your files, your pictures, your videos, your whatever you choose to store on Dropbox is visible to a Dropbox employee. So that's where we come back to this idea of TNO, trust no one. So LastPass is a company that cannot ever see your data. That's why, when we talk about companies like privacy.com, one of the things I am so invested in is making sure not only are they secure, but that they are also mindful of your privacy. And that they are doing everything possible within our technical capabilities to protect your security and your privacy both. So again, Capital One, I know, does it. You said Synchronous.
Citibank does the same thing as privacy. I've not seen it with Synchrony, but Citibank does it.
Yep. And the other thing that privacy does, and this is also quite unique to them, they do secure card sharing. So you can set up a card, like a gift card, or a card that has a recurring balance. There's lots of options to choose from. And you can set one up for your kids. Or you can send one off to your friends because you went out to dinner together and shared a meal. Well, not this day and age, but theoretically speaking,
someday maybe.
If you're in a state that isn't locked down, and you shared a meal, you could use privacy to share your part of the tab for the bill. So the secure sharing aspect of it is also quite unique to their product offering, and quite good the way they've done it. You have to do it from a desktop, from a computer. Currently, I'm imagining that they'll beef up their mobile app to allow that kind of thing sooner rather than later. But yeah, it's pretty impressive.
That's nice. That's cool. So as we look at 2021, this is a great tool, a great resource. Remember, if you are watching this after the fact and you have questions about this, you can always email us at iso@apu.edu. I'd also encourage you, subscribe to this channel so that you know when we go live and what we're talking about. And yeah, it's kind of, our credit cards have become very important to us because, like you said, we're not going out, we're ordering everything online, or
yeah, it's an interesting world we live in right now.
And even for a while, for those of us who were going through drive-throughs, drive-throughs didn't want to take cash, they wanted a card. So this is a great resource. So final thought, Shawn?
It is, as we go into 21, I know this is a different season in our history and for many of us, for our lives. I just encourage you all, stay safe. If you have questions about any online resource or platform, especially in this day and age, please feel free to contact us. We're happy to answer any questions.
Yeah, I'll answer them, or if it's I don't feel like I have the knowledge, I will poke Shawn until he answers you.
Yes, that does happen.
And with that, we will see you next month. Not sure what we'll talk about next month, but we'll let you know. So have a great day.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.